Hello, Bezel 333, feeling a little and probably looking a little more disheveled this evening, but I heard a sermon that I thought was fantastic this last Sunday, and I want to share it with you. I'm going to call it, because I've compressed it down into 5 minutes, I'm going to call it Evangelism. It's mission, it's message, and it's motivation. It's preached by Pastor Ron Svensson of Valley Presbyterian Church in North Hills, California.
And this is our mission. This is what we're called to do. Simple. Point to Jesus. Lead people to Jesus. Send them his way. And this is what we tell others. And this is why we can talk to anybody and everybody about the gospel. Don't try to figure out who would make a good Christian or not. We do that sometimes. We think, oh, that's a nice person, and we really realize that they're a lot like us, and that's why we think they're a nice person. And we think they'd make a nice addition to our church. I'd love to see them come. Jesus came for the world, not for just your kind, but for all kinds of people. Someone said, you can never speak to the wrong person about Christ. You can never speak to the wrong person about Christ. And this is our message to bring to them. This is our message, the message of the cross that Paul says is foolishness. But it's the power of God to save his people. Paul said that I didn't come to you with eloquence or superior wisdom as I proclaimed to you the testimony about God. For I resolved to know nothing while I was with you except Jesus Christ and him crucified. Now, there's other things to the Christian faith than that. Paul is not saying that there's nothing else, but he's saying that's the focus. It's Jesus. It's the cross. That's what the gospel is. It's not about how well he changes me or how good a friend he can be to me. It's about the cross. That's the crux of the matter of the gospel. That's what we've got to tell people. That's the power of God to save people. The power is not in how we say it. The power is not in how cool we are when we say it or how cool they might think we are when we say it. The power is not in our persuasive language or theological depth. Power is in God, who says he takes this message, this word of the cross, and he powerfully works it in on people to where they see that Jesus is the Lamb that was slain for them to take away their sins. That's our message. It's a church's message. It's my message. It's any preacher's message. It's anyone who's sent with the gospel. Now, that doesn't mean you never talk about anything else. That can be taken to extremes to where people say, don't ever say anything else. Just only but that's where we're going. That's what the crux of it. That's where we want to lead someone to talk about Christ and the claims of Christ and what he did, and talk about guilt and sin and judgment and what you're going to do about that. And here Jesus is, who offers you life and forgiveness of all of it. That's our message. What's our motivation? Well, our motivation is our message in some ways, because as we lock in on the cross of Christ, as we lock in on the Lamb who was butchered for us, we are delivered. The more we do that, I'm convinced of this, the more we are delivered from a guilty silence to others or an indifference to others. The more we're going to focus on Christ, we're going to be praying for others. The more we focus upon the cross, we're going to be looking for opportunities and praying for those opportunities. And the less we're focused on that, the more we say, that's just set, and now let's go on and have a good, merry life and hope my annuity doesn't go down too much. The more we're going to be disinterested in people and their coming to faith in Jesus Christ. Paul in 2 Corinthians 5 said, we make our goal to please the Lord, whether at home in the body or away from it. And he says, all Christians must appear before the Lord to give an account for themselves. And then he says, since then we know what it is to fear the Lord. What does he do? He says, we try to convince men. See the connection there? God is our Lord. We want to please him. We're going to be answering to him. And therefore we want to convince others to become Christians. Not so we feel better, but that he might be glorified. He goes on in that same context to say that Christ's love compels us or controls us. You need to look more. If you're indifferent, if you're finding it hard to witness, if you're thinking it's just not your thing, Look at the cross of Christ. Hebrews 12 says, consider Jesus, who endured such opposition from sinful men, just talking about the cross, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. Focus and fix your eyes on Jesus and what he did for you, and you're going to have a love for others. You're going to have an interest in their spiritual destiny.